Finish Clinton Part 2. Hopefully I can get this all in one thing. Make sure you're pausing if you need to. And you will be having a quiz over this stuff, so you better be paying attention. Let's see if you can quiz yourself over the very last thing I talked about in Part 1. Base your answer to question, whatever this is, on the cartoon below using your knowledge of social studies. So you have, in one area of the world, probably a very cheap manufacturing area, it says, I got a job today. Then over in the United States, it says, I lost my job today. It says global economy. You have noticed the date, 2005 edition. It says which development in this topic of this cartoon is the topic of this cartoon. It says increased trade between the U.S. and Southeast Asia, outsourcing of American jobs to foreign countries, abandonment of free trade agreements with other countries, payment of higher wages to overseas workers. Based on NAFTA and GATT. What do you think we're talking about here? Ooh, I hope you figure it out or go back and listen to the rest of your notes because that might be on a quiz. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with foreign policy. Oh my gosh, do you realize there's only 2 things under foreign policy? That is because Clinton got lucky, okay? During the 1990s, the internet, the technology makes us very, very, very happy with the economy. There is not going to be a lot of foreign problems under Bill Clinton in the 1990s. In fact, it is almost a very, very happy time. There are only 2 incidents in which we need to talk about. The very first one, actually I put them out of order on your notes, but it's okay. The very first one you need to put down from 1993 to 1995, U.S. troops were sent to Somalia, okay, to offer food and restore order after a civil war. So one area you need to know about is Somalia. I'm going to be honest with you, it's more of a humanitarian mission. It's not going to be a Cold War mission. The Cold War is over. We are kind of in a utopian kind of feeling for the next decade. The Cold War has, the Soviet Union has dissolved. Somalia, it's more of a peacekeeping mission, and it's more of, I need to help people, okay? If you don't know where Somalia is, take a look at a map. You need to know where it is. The very next place that we need to talk about, and this has the star because it's a little bit bigger, is the Balkans crisis. In 1999, the U.S. and the UN sent troops to Bosnia, okay, the former Yugoslavia, to stop this thing called, and I need you to underline this, Serbian ethnic cleansing. Remember, pause if you need to, okay? Serbian ethnic cleansing, which is essentially either the slaughter of one group of people, or oftentimes it's the manipulation or the complete destruction of one group of people. Let me show you a map because this one's where it gets kind of iffy. Okay, this is going to be the old area, if you will, of the lower portion of Europe, Eastern Europe in particular. You have an area, Croatia, you have Serbia, you have Bosnia-Herzegovina, Sarajevo, Montenegro. This is going to be Eastern Europe as we used to know it. Now, during this time period, okay, there was a massive, massive movement in Bosnia where the Serbians were being, quote-unquote, ethnically cleansed, if you will. Serbian ethnic cleansing. And with that, that means it's a genocide. And so Clinton did send in our troops, and the UN sent in troops to Bosnia to stop that Serbian ethnic cleansing. There's a large portion of this was contributed to this guy named Milosevic. Long story short, here's what you need to know. Clinton sent in troops to protect people. He sent in aid to Somalia to help feed people. There was an issue, you might need to know this as well. This is going to be your Somalia. In Somalia, I will tell you the most important thing that you probably know about this is the fact that it produced a movie called Black Hawk Down. That is going to be your Somalia situation. But I will tell you that Bill Clinton has nothing else foreign policy-wise. There was the bombing of the USS Cole. I felt like maybe I should have put this on your notes. This was actually committed by Osama bin Laden, never was traced back to him completely. Clinton kind of just fixed the problem, he thought, and it came back to bite us. But in all reality, the 1990s is a pretty peaceful time foreign policy-wise. Now, I do have upheaval in the 1990s. I've drawn a big old line across your notes. You do need to know about a couple more domestic things before we move on to Baby Bush. The very first thing you need to get down, it says LA race riots. I need you to make sure you put down the name of one man, Rodney King. Doesn't say it anywhere on your notes, but you need to know Rodney King. Here is a picture of a video. In LA, police officers had stopped a man named Rodney King, and I will be honest with you, he was probably in the wrong. He probably was a criminal. A lot of people think that he may have been drunk, and unfortunately, he did not cooperate. And unfortunately, the LA police went a little overboard when he did not cooperate, and it was caught on video. It's really like a Michael Brown situation on videotape. You guys know that this has been a very hot topic in the news today. Rodney King is the original one. Because of the fact that those police officers did not get very much done to them, there is going to be race riots in LA, much like Ferguson, Missouri. If you ever had an option to kind of synthesize those two, it's very much the same. Take a look at this picture. And the LA race riots of 1992 caused great racial tension in the 1990s. Now, the second thing it says is World Trade Center. World Trade Center. I thought that was in 2001. This says 1993, does it not? Guess what? You ready to write some stuff down? This was the first attack of the World Trade Center. It was actually a bomb in the basement of the World Trade Center placed in 1993 by none other than Osama bin Laden. And it says right here, time, terror hits home, the search for the tower bomber. I am telling you right now, if you want to know where terrorism somewhat started, it's in the 90s. But we were so happy with the economy and we were so blissfully unaware of what that was going on. I really honestly think it had time to grow across the world, and then it will really bite us in the butt 10 years later. Now, the very next thing you have on your notes is, and I don't think I really probably need to talk too much about this, but the Oklahoma City bombing. You do need to know, name, Timothy McVeigh. Are we clear? Timothy McVeigh. He is going to be a disgruntled employee of the federal government who blames the federal government for many, many problems. So what he does, are you listening carefully to me? He takes and he loads up an entire moving truck full of explosives. I mean, like fertilizer explosives. He makes a home-built bomb in the back of basically, I don't know, whatever those moving trucks are called. U-Hauls, yes? He drives it. Oh my gosh, I still remember this, guys. He drives it and places it right in front of the Murrah Federal Building in Oklahoma City, which is all reality, is only 3 hours away from us, guys. He literally detonates it, and that is what is missing of the Murrah Federal Building. The biggest, most horrific domestic terrorist event in American history. And this guy named Timothy McVeigh is responsible for it. The most unbelievably sad thing about it is the fact that on the second, and it's hard to talk about, on the second floor was the daycare center. And there are some pictures, guys. I don't even have them on the video. It'll break your heart. If you haven't ever been to Oklahoma City Bombing Memorial, it is the best designed, most unbelievably moving memorials there is. Now, the next thing I have is Clinton scandals. I need to make sure you have Whitewater down, Whitewater, and also the Monica Lewinsky scandal. Oh, this one's fun to talk about with a couple of teenagers. Let me talk about the fact that, first of all, the Monica Lewinsky scandal leads to impeachment. Let me explain how, okay? After you put Monica Lewinsky under Clinton scandals, let's talk about the fact that Clinton was charged because he was asked about his relationship with Miss Monica Lewinsky under oath. And he said, and I quote, and we'll watch the video probably, "I did not have sexual relations with that woman." Turns out he did. So under oath, he said he didn't. He is charged with obstructing justice and lying under oath, perjury. is the word. Are we clear? Say that word. Perjury. He's charged with high crimes and misdemeanors for lying under oath and obstructing justice to cover up an Oval Office affair with a young intern. So it was actually during one of the government shutdowns of the 1990s while Clinton and Newt Gingrich were battling it out over contract with America. And with that, the impeachment of Bill Clinton once again literally shows Americans that they cannot trust their president, and oftentimes they get angry. Y'all remember a little thing called, Watergate? Well, this is like Watergate again, except for Clinton survives the impeachment. So with that, the end of his presidency is kind of stained with this Monica Lewinsky affair. I'll be very, very honest with you. The details of the Monica Lewinsky affair, I do not really want to talk to you about. I will just leave it at this. She had evidence of the affair on a dress she had. And when that evidence was brought to light, actually by a woman named Linda Tripp, okay, who some people think possibly was put there to kind of tape video calls or phone calls to kind of set up Monica Lewinsky and Bill Clinton. We don't know if that's true or not. Long story short, Bill Clinton did something wrong. Monica Lewinsky had the evidence on dress. He was impeached. He, however, did kind of wiggle his way out of that impeachment, saying he did not understand what sexual relations meant because he did not have quote-unquote intercourse with her. You see how I don't really like talking about this. Long story short, it doesn't really matter if he was impeached or stayed president. After this, do you think America thinks that their president is morally, ethically a leader? No. So after LBJ took us to Vietnam, after Nixon had Watergate, after Reagan had Iran-Contra, after Daddy Bush said, read my lips, no new taxes, then Clinton has this. And with that, our trust in our American president is starting to definitely erode. So think about that. Clinton ends the 2000s, and I'm going to be honest with you, there's a surplus. Things are good. His vice president, Gore, actually will end up running, almost wins because people still really like Clinton because when you got money, who cares what the president's sleeping with? You know what I'm saying? But it's kind of an interesting story, Clinton's presidency. I will tell you that his biggest impact is going to probably be the fact that he married Hillary Clinton. No, I'm just kidding, but it seems so right now because she's running for president. Okay. Tune in for Baby Bush.